Morning, everybody. I am obviously not the mayor. He is on personal leave with some family time. So I'm here to give a couple of updates and answer any questions that you may have or get you follow-up answers. So start, we've got a little update on Bay Bluffs Park. We know that there's a lot of people that are interested in this project, and I'm able to share that this week we finalized service authorization with HDR Engineering to begin their work on the Bluffs project. And that agreement includes project coordination, topographical survey, geotechnical review, a condition assessment of the existing boardwalk, bidding assistance, and construction phase services. So in layman's terms, we're getting a little bit closer. So we look for this phase to be completed by the end of October, at which time we should have a better idea of which parts of the existing boardwalk structure can be repaired and which will have to be replaced. HDR is projecting 6 months for production of design plans and biddable construction documents. And that would put the project out for bid about next March or April timeframe, of about 6 months or so. Slated for construction. So that's obviously, as we sit here today, that's the rough timeline, but making progress, seeing some action. Another project update. There's a date set for the start of the Legion Field Global Learning Academy Sidewalk project. That's a $1.2 million project to install and replace the sidewalks between those two facilities. It's about to begin. The goal is to improve pedestrian access and connectivity in that West Pensacola neighborhood. Start date for that is the 10th of August. Improvements will include the construction concrete sidewalk, curb and gutter, signage, and pavement markings, and conduit, power service, miscellaneous incidentals for future roadway lighting to be constructed by others on North L, West Gregory, and West Wright Streets. There will be intermittent lane closures during sidewalk construction. We'll be sure to make sure we get the information out at the appropriate time. It's funded by the Florida Department of Transportation's Transportation Alternatives Program and the CRA. The CRA is funding a little over $380 million. The balance being funded by FDOT. Also, an update on the safety issue at Gregory and 14th, that area. The DOT, Florida DOT, just finished collecting updated traffic counts on Gregory Street, coming off of the 3 Mile Bridge, the Chapel James 3 Mile Bridge. They're starting what's called a warrant analysis and expect to have that analysis complete by the end of August. And that analysis will tell us if the data supports a signal at 14th and Gregory. In the meantime, DOT is taking a few steps to improve safety along Gregory Street as you exit the 3 Mile Bridge. These include supplemental signage, pavement markings to direct motorists the proper lane they need to be in to get to I-110. 35-mile-an-hour pavement shield to further alert drivers of the reduced speed limit as they come onto Gregory Street, and speed feedback signs on the ramp coming off the bridge. So some activity there, again, waiting for that study to come back to see if under the FDOT's analysis a signal is warranted there at 14. Graffiti, and while we're in the neighborhood there, Graffiti Bridge project, we have a contract executed with Loftus Marine. Construction is going to begin in mid-September. Contractors procuring materials. There's been a little bit of a long lead time for some of those materials. Boat ramp and parking areas will close when construction commences. Again, we'll be sure to make sure we message that out. And as a reminder, these improvements will include the overhead detection system, early warning system of our favorite graffiti bridge there, so we don't get any additional trucks stuck under there. That's that. Baptist update. Work is moving ahead. Consistent, continual progress there. Abatement is complete, and crews are now demobilizing the equipment and materials associated with that phase of the project. Demolition of the former hospital site continues in a controlled, phased manner. Crews are removing debris, sorting and recycling materials, and using dust control measures and air monitoring throughout the work. Demolition of Tower 1 is now complete, and Tower 2 is approximately 15%. As always, our team focuses on public safety, regulatory compliance, and keeping the community informed. And to that end, the next community forum is scheduled for 5:30 on August 6th, next week, at Lakeview Activity Center. We expect this to be a substantive update session. We certainly hope that we get good attendance there from folks in the community. VMP restroom is on the agenda for the upcoming council meeting on the 13th. And as a reminder, I think we've talked about this a couple of times recently, and it's going to be a permanent, climate-controlled, ADA accessible two-restroom unit facility. Again, the purchase of that is scheduled for the City Council on the 13th. Once approval assuming council approval, the manufacturer will prepare signed and sealed construction documents for permitting and fabrication will begin. The city anticipates delivery of the restroom in early 2027 with installation to occur shortly thereafter. Just a little side note here, just because the park is within a FEMA designated flood zone, any permanent restroom must incorporate specialized dry flood-proofing measures. Select a facility designed to meet those requirements. It also fits within the remaining budget and allows us to move forward to providing this to the community. Operation Hope Day event on Monday. This event is part of the In Time Home effort by Opening Doors Northwest Florida to take a census of the community's homeless population. Hope Day includes support from the city, the county, Good Hope AME Church, Escambia Santa Rosa Continuum of Care, and Opening Doors. The goal is to connect those experiencing homelessness to resources in the community to help them. From the city's perspective, the Pensacola Police Department's Community Outreach Division will be part of Escambia County's Operation Hope Day at the Brownsville Community Center from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. on Thursday. And we're specifically grateful to the community response specialists who since 2023 have been working directly with people who are experiencing homelessness to meet them where they are, help them access services if they desire, and to get them into safer, more stable living situations. Just got some updated numbers as of June 2026. Those officers had 395 interactions with homeless people, placed 11 people in shelters or in housing, and referred another 22 people to shelter or housing. Worked to reconnect people to family, substance abuse treatment facilities, and work programs. And the last thing I have is the tall ship Elissa will be visiting Pensacola on August 6th through the 10th. And this is the first stop on her Sail 250 voyage, marking a meaningful return to the port. You may have known that she has visited here before, once in 1886, and again in 2018. The historic arrival offers a rare opportunity to experience a living piece of maritime history up close, with deck tours inviting visitors on board to explore the craftsmanship, stories, and her enduring legacy. Will be open for free tours on Friday, August the 7th from 9 a.m. until noon. Saturday and Sunday hours are 11 to 5. And a couple of other paid events. While it's docked, you can visit the website galveston250.com for more information. The 1877 Elissa is typically docked at the Galveston Seaport. The Galveston Historical Foundation bought it from a Greek scrapyard and by 1982 restored it as a floating museum that actively sails. It welcomes more than 40,000 visitors annually. She also serves as the official tall ship of Texas, a National Historic Landmark, and a symbol of the Gulf Coast's historic beginnings as a seaport and active waterfront. So that's what I have for you today, and if happy to answer any questions about anything else might be on your mind. Yes, sir.
David, the city put out a legal notice last week about proposed stormwater assessment. Non-ad valorem tax will have a public hearing August 13th. Which
That's the city council day.
Yeah. Has anything changed in the way the city calculates the assessments?
I'd have to punt on that, but I do. We had a specific stormwater session with the city council where they reviewed all that, but I'm not aware of anything that has significantly changed. But if we can follow up with you on that, we certainly can.
Because I know that the notice for the August 13th meeting requires public objections to the assessment to individual property owners are due like in another 7 or 8 days. And that doesn't seem like a lot of time for the public to, I mean, has the public, are these property owners, have they been given the new assessments yet?
I'll have to get back to you on that. I think that the assessment that's before the city, that's ultimately the city council's decision. They had the workshop on it, but I'll just have to get back to you on it, John. Yes, ma'am.
I have a couple of questions about the State Housing Initiatives Partnership or SHIP program.
Okay.
The Johnson family recently had their home rebuilt as part of that program. So could you talk a little bit about this initiative and how it's benefited families in the community?
I would, Betsy McDonald is our housing expert here. I know that she's been working diligently on those programs. It's a priority of the City of Pensacola. And we have a variety of programs. And in fact, we've gone to a couple of rebuilds that we've opened back up with the citizens getting back in their homes after that rebuild. But specifically about the SHIP program, I'll have to refer you to Betsy McDonald, who's our housing director.
And kind of continuing on with affordable housing, I know there were a couple of other initiatives in the community, one being the Motor Lodge in that property. About a year ago, the plan was to focus that on affordable housing. Is that still the goal, and what's the latest with that property?
That property, I think Cliff's here in the back. That property we're still in the due diligence phase on that, but it's proceeding. Cliff, you got an update for us?
Yeah, as David mentioned, it is actually still in the negotiation phases. Our council, I just spoke with them this morning, they're still kind of working out all the details. And obviously, once that's done, the intent is to commit to some sort of affordable housing. So,
What would you say have been any obstacles or challenges in this process?
well, I think it was just time more than anything else. I mean, right now we're on track. Time was just was not in our favor. I think that would be the biggest obstacle, and sort of getting everybody to the table. Any other questions?
Not about the Motor Lodge, but
Okay.
also just wanted to follow up on the Baptist demolition.
Yeah.
Wait, I got one question, Cliff, just real quick. On the physical sports building, what's the status of that? I know there was some negotiations going on with or whoever. has
Oh,
that.
you want to take that?
Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry, I thought Cliff was handling it.
no, it wouldn't. Cliff, yeah, I mean, you.
Yeah. This is the 101?
Yeah, 101 West
Sure.
Main.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sure.
So what's the status?
Well, the status actually, Quinn Stewart and I exchanged a couple of emails last night. The intent right now is for us to meet sometime this week. And then the intent of that meeting is kind of to iron out all the details as far as what do we see happening in the future. But right now, the building, at least our plan is to basically have it as a long-term lease.
Okay. And that's the only person you're negotiating with?
That's right.
Yes, that's right.
okay.
That's exactly right.
Exclusive at this point.
Yeah, we've not received any other inquiries that I'm
Okay.
aware of on that.
I've
That's
got a
correct.
follow-up to that.
Sure.
So the future and the prospective tenant there is interested in a ground lease or to lease the building?
From my understanding, it's to lease the building, but I could verify that just to make sure we got that right. But right now, it's still,
Would you-
yes, of course, yes, definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Going back to the demolition of the old Baptist hospital.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people in the community say the only thing they want to see replace that is affordable housing. So, you know, what is the likelihood of that? Where do conversations stand?
So again, we've got Cliff here. I know that part of that, the demolition is one part, but then sort of parallel to that, we've got our RFP that's coming for a community engagement and development advisor.
So again, as David mentioned, so right now we got the demolition. That RFP obviously is in execution phase right now. The second phase really is, we got an RFP that's on the streets. It closes this Friday, at which point that RFP will entail two phases. Phase one will be community engagement. Second phase will be the development feasibility advisor, right? And they're gonna work hand in hand. Phase one will feed phase two. And then closer to the end of phases 1 and 2, the intent is to develop phase 3 RFP. That RFP will be informed basically from phase 1, phase 2, and that's feedback from the citizens. So to the citizens' concerns about affordable housing, we need engagement. We need them to be involved in that process. And so that will help us decide what we would like to have, consider what we can afford, and then build out based on that.
And is there any indication of what other options could be on the table
As far as,
what could replace it aside from affordable housing? I know you said you're looking for community input, but I mean, have you all been able to gauge any others?
we haven't considered any, and really it is, the mayor made it very clear, we want to hear what the community has to say about it. So we're going to take that feedback seriously. We're going to consider all options, and at that point, that's when we're going to kind of look at it. But the intent is really to sort of deliver to the maximum extent as far as we can on what the people say they want.
Yeah, I think the key point there is it's not limited at this point. I think it's fairly wide open. I mean, people, obviously, there's some folks that have said they want to see healthcare there, affordable housing. And I think the idea of this two-step process is, one, get the community engagement, a deliberate community engagement, and then that's important second piece is the feasibility of what can, marrying that input, again, what's realistic moving forward, and then that would inform the third piece.
Yeah, last week, the city council, CRA, had the budget workshop, and they discussed several things, but one of the things they're looking at increasing the funding going to for community policing. And I guess, how does that play into the property tax amendment coming up next year, as you won't be able to, if I understand right, reduce funding for law enforcement activities and that?
No, that was not, that was not part of the, that's actually, it's interesting you say that. That's somewhat of a misconception. Earlier iterations of the property tax amendment specifically cordoned off public safety. The one that's going to come before the voters in November does not. There's nothing that sort of holds public safety harmless. But to be clear, the property tax amendment would if adopted, would impact not only the general fund, but also the CRA. The TIF revenues would also be impacted as well. So regardless, the dollar figure available to do things both inside the general fund as well as in the CRA would be impacted with the passage of the amendment.
Okay, yeah, I guess, are y'all worried at all, though, I guess, that using CRA funds to go for things like law enforcement would?
No, I mean, I think if you were here and saw the discussion, I think there was the CRA board, the members that were here, I think my impression of they seem to be amenable to that.
Yeah, are y'all worried, though, that if the property tax amendment passes, that you're going to be having to choose between the traditional CRA activities and keeping that funding for law enforcement, or having to cut law enforcement?
I mean, I think there's all kinds of things that are going to come into consideration from a budgetary standpoint, from a priority standpoint. Public safety is always going to be front and center. The mayor has made that very clear. But clearly, I mean, you've heard not only here locally but throughout the state, there would be significant impacts if the passage of that amendment. So I think you just have to adjust accordingly. But as we're sitting here today, I think we're planning for next year's budget in a responsible way. And I think the first step of that was that CRA budget workshop. And again, there was the CRA board had a lengthy discussion about those items, and I think that at least my impression was they were supportive of that coming out of there.
Jim Little scooped us on the contract to look at the baseball field, make it look at it as a soccer complex.
Yeah.
Give us a story, since he has it, the rest of us should.
Well, what I know about it, and that was, it's the mayor's, and this was the engaging with a consultant. It's my understanding that there's several different facilities in other parts of the country that looked at the possibility. I mean, I think we all know that the mayor's talked about the interest in, he's fielded some inquiries about professional soccer here. And so the idea, I think, initially was looking for either a facility or a space for a freestanding soccer complex. But he became aware of other facilities in other parts of the country where there's a multi-use baseball and soccer complex. And so he started exploring, well, could that be done at the Wahoo Stadium? And so he went out and did some research on a couple of firms that do that kind of a feasibility study, looking at that. And I think he's identified two, and I think his intention is to move forward on.
Is that something he'll do on his own, or will go before the council?
I think at the level of the funding, it's under $50,000 what he's looking at, so he could do that. I think his intention is to do it on his own.
What's the intent of? I didn't read the article. So what's the intent? I'm teasing, but what's the time frame?
I think I don't have a specific time frame, but I think sooner rather than later. I think that as the mayor says, he always likes to move with urgency, and I think this is one of those that I think he's looking at doing that pretty quickly.
Also, on Gregory Street, this is the first time we've heard about a stoplight as a possibility for 14th Avenue. Is that a feeling that might be the best solution?
Well, I think it was one of multiple. We had a meeting. We had a meeting with Florida Department of Transportation officials, and there's been continuing discussions. I think over. It's no mystery to them that that's an area of concern for not only the mayor but also the Pensacola Police and Fire that have to. That it's just a hot location. Right. And so the idea is, what things can be done to help alleviate some of that. And one of the things that came up in discussion was the possibility of a light. And so they have a process by which they do traffic studies to see if the traffic warrants a light, and that's what that's in reference to. But again, in the shorter term, the midterm, they've committed to doing taking these other actions that I mentioned earlier.
Do we have a time frame for when that hotel comes online? That could be a factor too.
I don't, other than just I don't know as we sit here today. As I sit here right now, I don't have But I know it's obviously under construction, you see it, right? So, I mean, certainly that it's going to impact that intersection in Gregory in general. That's going to bring a lot more traffic to that area.
Do you know what that time frame is for those other things like the speed sign, the pavement shield or anything?
I don't, what's that? September. Thank you. It's in there. Yeah. Anything else? Thank you, Rick. Thanks, gentlemen.